Digital fam, what's happening? What's happening? IG Live, been a minute. We'll get some people flowing on. I have no idea what I'm going to talk about. See what happens. Maybe a little Q&A. What's going on, everybody? Making my drive down from OC down to San Diego. Welcome, welcome. How's everybody doing? Happy strong end. I'm choosing to change my weekend for strong, so we're going strong end, no more weekend. We're not weak. A weekdays. I am not living a dazed life. Starting off with some word magic. All right, grand rising. I'd rather not mourn in the rising. What's happening, everybody? How's everybody doing? How's everybody feeling? Holy Toledo, you've got energy pumping, you've got mass awakenings, you've got global marches, you've got mandates and mandatory things and fake people and fake cities and fake environments calling it fake orders. It's a whirlwind. It's definitely a whirlwind. And notice that a lot of it is very tied to language. That's one thing that I had a little drop connect to me the other day, is how much of the things in our world, the matrix we call it, is really predicated to using language, words, to kind of to keep you stuck in a pattern of thinking. And usually that pattern of thinking leads to, well, fear and anxiety and whatnot. So very wild to see how you could take one word and all of a sudden it could become 50 different things. Nobody questions that. So our words have been scrambled. Yeah, you guys are getting conscious language. Absolutely. Conscious language and then unconscious manifestations. A lot of the magic happens at that unconscious level. Yeah, France standing up. Australia. I know there's like helicopters, all that stuff going on in Australia. And of course, here I'm in the United States. I'm in California, as dense as the matrix can get. We're still here getting ready for baseball and happy hour, and people are just in their everyday bread and circus life. All power to them. People do their thing and do what they want. It's just very interesting that no matter what perspective you choose, there's a lot of people that just tend to see things the opposite, and that's okay. And that's why the best things we can do is ask those questions. We're seeing our freedoms being jeopardized. We're seeing, supply chains and food and gas, things that I've shared and many have shared even like a year ago. It's like, all right, it wasn't actually happening. Now it's happening. That's why they say future proves the past. It's like a quantum entanglement in a way. So, yeah, the U.S. needs to wake up. Here's my little go-to is all eyes on us, right? All eyes on us. It's funny, the U.S. is the U.S. Us. How does that work? When America wakes up, rather than the United States of America, that's dissolved and fading and dying as we speak. When America wakes up, well, the world follows. So we're last on that tipping scale, and I believe we're getting very, very close, because regardless of where your background is, your backdrop, ethnicity, all these things are left brain labels. I'll say it over and over again. At the end of the day, we're all very similar, and we all have very deep intuition, gut feelings that we've suppressed for so long. So we remember these parts of ourselves. It's powerful. That's why they don't want you remembering. Yeah, future proves past. And it's always interesting too, the concept of time and how the time has been distorted. I don't know if you guys know this, like how we live in linear time. You guys know what I'm talking about? What is linear time? So months, days, weeks, numbers. It's like, just keep going forward, rather than a fractal of time, which is everything is right now. Because think about it. If we were to take away all the time, the clocks, the watches, how would society operate? Have you guys ever visualized that? Visualize that next time you journal or meditate. Visualize everything that has to do with time gone. Right? Like take off your watch, throw it away. Turn off your time on your iPhone. Take out all the clocks that are in airports and everything and get rid of them. How do we live our life? What would we do? Would we be in chaos? Would we be confused? Would we get anxiety? Would we feel empowered, inspired, and motivated? Because so much of my life, I base it off of time. You base it off of linear time. When I'm 30, this happens. When I'm 65, I retire. When I'm 35, I have a family. When I'm 40, I'm in my midlife crisis. It's like we start labeling things before they even happen. So as soon as we commit to that timeline, next thing you know, we may feel disempowered, right? So there's different parts of our brain and our physiological being and our experience that we have in this world. And what happens is when you fall under the illusion of time, right, where it's 12 hours, 24 hours in a day, 365 in a year, no one ever questions, why not have 13, months? Why not have all months be 28 days, not some be 28, 30, and 31? Then you have lunar cycles, then you have women's menstruation all thrown off, and everyone's just trying to figure out. It's like everyone's just confused. Everyone is just so confused. Yeah, we live more in the present, exactly. We would, and without even saying more in the present, because there's no is more to anything, the present moment is now, and like now is the only time that there ever was and is. So you notice how zoom out the things in our external environment, are really predicated off money and time, because those can be very left brain dominant ways of control, right? Mind control, manipulation, persuasion, overthinking, babble, word magic. And look, you have these timelines or these deadlines. Notice the word deadline. Dead line. Hey, you got a deadline Friday. Immediate anxiety. Because you hear the word death. It's like, it's so wild to think how much of our life can be programmed simply by the words that we use. And, I'm just flowing here on the live. What's up, everybody, for jumping on? The Power of Now, very powerful book. Take what resonates, leave the rest. I always like to choose to say. It's wild, though. This concept of time has really thrown us all off. And now it's like when everything shut down last year, it's almost like the concept of time kind of got stuck. Do you guys ever feel that? Because now everything's shut down. It's like time slowed down. Like all of a sudden we started feeling more. And we became more in our body, which is where a lot of our answers actually are that we're looking for. We became more aware of our emotions. Why weren't we able to do that before? Well, because we were just going. We were going somewhere. I'm going somewhere right now. I'm going home. I'm traveling. As time slows down, you realize you can get a lot done in less amount of time. And when I say a lot done, I don't actually mean physical. Get it? So you get that the internal timeline. That's why they call it, I don't know if you guys have heard of this. I'm sure a lot of you guys have. You guys are so enlightened and inspiring. I learned so much from a lot of you, is our circadian rhythm. And it's the clock that's internal that predicates, the hormones, the melatonin. They say sunrise, sundown. It's always interesting that we go sunrise, sundown with time rather than just like knowing when that happens and when that is. So that's another thing, if you're listening to this now, is ask yourself, what is the circadian rhythm? How is my rhythm internally? What is the balance of that rhythm? What are the benefits of it? And what are some things that I can achieve, take action, and remove to improve my circadian clock, right? My internal clock that's going all the time. And I got this realization, perhaps if you've lost someone in the past, right, which is just a memory. Anything outside of the now is a memory. That's why it's a beautiful gift, because, well, if you look at mem, you've got mermaid, you've got water, and you've got all these things that are held in your waters. You have these memories that float around, and whether we choose consciously or unconsciously to feel them, to see them, to remember them, remember, all right? So you become a member of a company, you remember, you basically start observing things that have reoccurred over and over and over. Here's an example, right? Let's say, imagine your birthday, or someone you loved and their birthday. So my father's birthday was last Sunday, and he passed away last year. it was interesting because as his birthday was approaching on the calendar, my body started to adjust internally. Even though I knew he wasn't going to be here and I wasn't going to go celebrate with him physically, there was something internally that was going as if he is here physically, right? He is here. I'm going to get like dinner with him and my family on July 25th. So it was fascinating to me that I noticed that even though physically they're not here, schedule-wise, we have nothing scheduled. My body still acted as if that birthday, that get-together, that dinner and cake and all that was actually happening. And that's a fascinating thing that I came to a realization, you know? So it's like if you graduated school, or let's say you start school in the fall, like September, and after you graduate and you're done with school, probably the next few years, if I had to guess, a lot of times when September comes around, you may get anxious. You may get overwhelmed, or you may get a little down. I got to go back to school. Or maybe you get excited if you love school, and yet you're not in school. You ever notice that? So ask yourself right now, let's say it's about to be August. Have you ever had a time in your life where August was hard? The month. Because we can use time as an advantage. These are tools that we can always use. We can flip it this way, we can flip it that way. That's the beautiful part of this. We can be in control and we can choose these things that happen. When I say we can choose, it's not you that's choosing, it's it's God that's choosing within you, your right brain and all sorts of other things. That's for another topic. So let's say August is either a good month in the past, a rough month in the past, right? Looking and reflecting, and all of a sudden here comes August 1st. Now, without having to relive it physically, you get to experience it internally. Okay, and this is where the things start coming up. This is where all of a sudden you get emotional. This is where all of a sudden you get triggered. This is where you may get overwhelmed, or you start having a little depression, and we start blaming on things like, oh, that car cut me off. We're blaming it on the things that are happening now, when in reality, a lot of the things are happening internally from the past that we haven't even become aware of. Does that make sense? So this helped me tremendously, and it all connected when my father passed away, and then his birthday came on July 25th. I had the exact same feelings as if he was here, yet he wasn't. And it really showed me our ability to navigate different timelines, whether it's past, present, or future, right? Instead of just what's on a calendar, a clock, or a watch. Because that's where we get trapped. We forget how to feel our emotions of the past because we're trapped in the time going forward, you know? So time is interesting, language is interesting. I'm just kind of rambling a little bit and flowing with you guys. If you guys have some questions, fire away. I'm just driving home from San Diego. These are just some little dots that I've been connecting lately and really getting to a place. Because I feel, I choose to change the words, by the way, if you've noticed. Getting away from thinking, I feel. Just try to say it right now if you're watching this. I think that works, I feel that works. Think and feel have like a different tone to it. You know, I think, it's kind of like a question mark at the end. I feel is like a period at the end. You guys get it? It's like even images and symbols play a role in our dialect and our language. I think. Even if you say it confidently, I think, you still feel like you could add a question mark. Do you guys get what I'm talking about? I know you can't really get too much feedback on these lives. I feel. I don't really see a question mark. It's like a confirmation. Right? I feel this is going to be. I feel this is good. It's like you're. Yeah, I feel this. I feel this is the best option. I feel this in my heart. I feel this is the right way. Compared to, I think this is the right way. You see how it's like, well, you can feel it. Try it. Try saying this out loud. Somebody like, well, it's a big difference. And all I did was switch the word. That's why it's so powerful, because look what we do in our diet. We switch one food for that. Look what we do with our hydration. We switch one beverage for this. And it's like, interesting. Right? Yeah, I know this. That's another great one. I confirm this. I affirm this. I choose this. I know this. I feel this. I'll try this. I think I can. Maybe it works. All that in between stuff truly is that left brain babbling. Because the left brain is designed to create labels, and those labels then get used in mainstream to label you. So I've got anxiety. All of a sudden the left brain uses the word anxiety as a label. And then that anxiety word now becomes a multi-million-dollar industry for supplementation or medication. And all it is just a label for a truly what it is a feeling. And truly what those feelings are, those emotions. And then what the emotions are simply energy and motion. And then what the energy and motion is simply energy. And what energy is, that is where I'm going to hand it back to you. Because it's not my job, it's not my duty to tell you what energy is. That's what for you to decide. That's for you to choose. That's for you to feel. And I really have been feeling this saying that it just came to me. The eyes look, the mind sees, and the heart leads. Great little excerpt. The eyes look. We tend to look around, right, rather than see things for what they are. So whatever we look at, it's like, oh, that's true. Whatever we look at, oh, that's true, without questioning it, without sitting with it, without using discernment, being aware of cognitive dissonance, seeing how the body reacts. So our eyes tend to look, right? It's like your screen. And it's like this. What happens is, let's just say your eyes are like little projectors out. There's two arrows that can go out and arrows that can come in. A lot of times people that see externally, the arrows are coming into their eyes, right? It's coming into them, which I get with the light and those things like that. A lot of times we forget that our eyes are actually the lens that our mind sees. So whatever we're seeing with our mind, it projects out, and that's what we actually look at in reality. Does that make sense? Let me say this again. By the mind seeing for what things are, that's why you see through the matrix, through the illusion, the veil, all the other manipulation, you see for things for what they are. The eyes then can look at that in real time externally in your reality. Well, right now where we've been is that our mind has not been able to see. Right? Why? Well, there's a whole list of things. And this is where I use my left brain in a divine way of organizing and categorizing to break down some basic tips. Dehydration, mucoid plaque, or any kind of plaque in the brain, heavy metals, parasites, you've got traumas, lack of blood flow, low oxygenation, neuroplasticity, nervous system transmitters that are on loops and things like that. So how can our mind see with all those things in our thoughts, in our mind, our brain? Most people don't even know how our brain works, right? How much of it is water, how much of it is fat, how much of it is actually protein, how much of it is actually just space, So if our mind is all distorted, that's why we call it SEA, my partner Jilly, SEA, because it's an open ocean, right? Well, what's going on in our oceans right now? You got plastic, you got pollution, you've got all sorts of chemicals, radiation. It's like our oceans is our mind. You see the comparison? Give me a little analogy with the visuals. So if our oceans are polluted, well, our reality might not be the same. So if we're looking, rather than looking in a way of, oh, what's around me is how this world is. What I see is just what it is. Or what I look at is just that is what it is. That's the matrix in itself. It's based on what you're looking at, not what you're seeing internally, right? So if we can see clearly, if we can clean our brain up, we can clean our mind up, we can clean our subconscious, become more present, feel and experience our traumas, hydrate our brain, give it some neuroplasticity, allow it to have some adaptogens, load it up with oxygen, and let it charge up by reducing our thought, our seeing, right? That's why we drown in a sea of thought. We're able to see here now, we get to see in our reality. And that's what our eyes look at. Our eyes are looking at something. It's not how we navigate. That's why people who go blind Well, what happens is their mind improves, their senses improve, because they just like close one of their lids. They close one of their screens. So you're projecting that out, and then the heart leads. That heart leads it all. I don't know if you guys know this. Fascinating little thing that kind of I became aware of. You ever heard of heart cancer? Anybody? If you want to type in the comments, anybody ever heard of cancer of the heart? There's heart disease, I get that, but like actually heart cancer, no such thing. Why? Why is there no such thing as heart cancer? Stomach cancer, pancreatic cancer, you've got lymphoma, there's so many, right? Heart cancer. You have? I'd love to hear what you have found. Because I haven't. There's no heart cancer. Do you know why? Does anybody know why? I'll go slowly. I don't know how caught up the chat is to this. Does anybody know why there's no such thing as heart cancer? The eyes look, the mind sees, the heart leads. Right? Every organ other than the heart can be labeled with cancer. What does that tell you? Here's a little nugget for you. Ready? Every single part of you, plain and simple, right? Positive, negative charge. Well, what are we made of? Hundreds of trillions of cells. Right? We'll break it down to the its and bits. Every cell in our body, hundreds of trillions of cells. This is fascinating stuff I've just learned over the years. I've just been enamored and fascinated by the human body, by myself, by how my body operates, all parts of it. You can learn so much from your body: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, energetic, chakra, endocrine, lymphatic, circulatory, digestive, nervous system, hormones, functions, proteins, enzymes. I know these are left brain words to really express frequencies, vibrations, and sound and energy, right? But we're going to use left brain labels to let you guys paint a picture. All trillions of your cells, hundreds of trillions of your cells, they all have a charge. The external part of your cell is optimally run at a positive charge. Why is that? So cells don't stick to each other, right? Because we're made of trillions of them. Your heart, your brain, your lungs, your liver, your skin, your kidneys, your epithelia, your endothelia, your brain, mucus. List goes on and on and on and on. The external is a positive, the internal is a negative. Anything that can be classified, declared as a physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, even financial ailment is a simple imbalance of that positive and negative balance of our cellular health. Okay? Just like a simple imbalance of the masculine and feminine, an imbalance of the fire and the water, an imbalance of the electro and the magnetic, the imbalance of the up and the down. It's all those things that become imbalanced. So many people do not realize also that each organ and different parts of our body have different voltages, they have different frequencies, and they have different electromagnetic principles. Here's the thing though. What about the heart? Because the word cancer, simply, look this up, don't believe me, not a doctor, just a dot connector. Don't have a PhD, just a COB. That's what I like to say. It's my little disclaimer. 43 people on, divine. Cancer, I learned this from my father. Watched him experience and battle cancer. He beat it, by the way. Rest of the system, I just saw it fail. It's when the cellular voltage, positive and negative, become imbalanced and it starts to drop. That's it. We call it inflammation. We call it acid. We call it autoimmune. We call it stress. We call it dis-ease. Those are left brain labels to cover up the true meaning of it, which is a drop in cellular voltage internally and externally. Drop in vibration, drop in frequency, stagnant and dead. Okay? So, let's say you get something of the pancreas, pancreatic cancer. Well, your pancreas has now dropped in voltage to a place where now your cells are operating at a low voltage, allowing more toxicity to build up, more parasites, heavy metals to lodge in, allowing your DNA now to become unstranded or whatever the word is, and distorted, broken, and scattered because our DNA is held together by hydrogen too. And next thing you know, boom, you've manifested cancer. Now, back to the heart. You guys know this, how powerful the heart is, right? Your heart puts out what? And there's so many different things that have been said. 15-foot radius, 30-foot radius, miles long of energy. That's why the heart leads. The heart leads, it's like the head of the ship. The mind sees, that's like your compass, right? And then the eyes look, which is just what you're looking out on the ocean. So a lot of us have been disconnected from our heart. We've been backstabbed, we've been traumatized, we've been betrayed, we've been abused, we've been shamed, we've been feared and guilt, and all these things, all these left brain word magic things that you've been labeled. And your heart closes up. When your heart closes up, that voltage now drops. However, because it's so strong, that voltage remains as high as possible because that's where source flows through. Okay? What happens when someone passes? Right? Maybe, what do? They go clear. And what do? Doosh! Right to your chest. Doosh! Why? Because the heart doesn't really find a middle ground of like, oh, I'm getting lower, so I got heart cancer. It's, hey, I'm vibing or I'm stopped. All right? So when our heart stops, clear. Doosh. Do it again. Clear. Doosh. What are they doing? Cellular voltage. Cellular voltage, heart's working. That's why you'll never hear about heart cancer. Because the heart is not designed to have cancer. Because, well, one, cancer is a word we made to label something with low cellular voltage because, well, that's quackery to the Rockefeller medicine. Flexner Report 1910, look it up. So when we realize that our heart is so powerful that it can even defeat, defy, overcome, and not even think twice, like it laughs at cancer, think of what it can do for you. Think of how it can lead you. Think of the wisdom your heart knows. And some of you are like, but that heart, like that thing we draw, like on Valentine's cards, or it looks kind of weird. You know, it's like, they always say, like, put two hearts together, it actually makes the heart symbol. Like, a real heart is just like a half a heart. You know what I mean? So I always found that fascinating, that the heart can never get cancer because the heart will never get low in cellular voltage. Because if it does, that's it. There's no in between. It stays high. It's your highest vibrating electromagnetic organ in your body. And we try to figure out what else is wrong with our system. Oh man, my blood is this. Oh, well, let's get some burdock root. Well, let's get some this. For me, it's, well, how's your heart? What do you mean, how's my heart? It's good, it's beating. It's pumping blood through my veins. Is it pumping it or is it vortexing it? Depends how you look. Many think, I used to think the heart pumps blood through our body. Our blood is always moving. As long as we're moving and breathing and contracting and expanding. Yes, the heart does have some say in that. It also pumps to vortex, to spiral your waters. Because the DNA is a spiral, the top down is a spiral. I mean, all these things, there's a lot of very powerful spirals in nature. And that's why the evil took that as a symbol for pedophilia. Spiral. They take divinity and make it into disgusting. You know? So to kind of conclude all that, I know that's maybe something you guys just learned, which is fascinating. You're always learning something in every way, shape, or form. The heart is very powerful. There's no such thing as heart cancer because the heart stays at a high voltage, which is a negative charge internally and a positive charge externally. When our heart stops, they use, I forget what the word is, the resuscitators. You guys know what I'm talking about. Clear, boost that cellular voltage. So for me, what does that tell me? That tells me that if that's my heart and that's the strongest organ, and I know how a cell works, I know now what can help my heart and how the heart operates, couldn't in fact I now create synergy, zoom out and see out all organs and systems in the body, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, energetic, metaphysical, chakra, all these now can work in unison with the heart leading. So now you get it, right? The eyes look, the mind sees, the heart leads. We got it all a little backwards. Our heart's suppressed and traumatized. Our mind is drowning in a sea of thought, and our eyes are looking at the world that's been fake, an illusion, and manipulated for quite some time. There you go. Of course, many people are just, they're lost. They're using try instead of choosing to find their way back to their heart. That's the journey. That's, in my humble opinion, that's the journey, that part of your awakening. That great solar flash is when all those dots connect, and then that heart just bursts out wide open. Yes, I'll save this life. It's powerful stuff. Yeah, exactly. The matrix breaks as soon as you find your heart. Because when you're in your heart space, you're in the now. Then time doesn't exist. Then you're actually working with things beyond our conscious comprehension that only God, Theos, can teach us. It's fascinating. Fascinating. And that's what people say, Chris, how do you know all this stuff? How do you learn it? I honestly just learn about myself. It's one of the best tips you can give. One of the best things you can offer someone going through something. Hey, what do you know about this? Because it's all within us. Like, it's so weird. Like, I'm 6'4", 220 pounds. Some people, when they meet me in person, like, whoa, you're taller than I see on the screen. 6'4", 220 pounds. There's a lot inside of me. You just go to my skin, it can tell you about me. You can look at my eyes, you'll tell me all about my health. You can look at my hair, talk about my nervous system. You can look at my my veins, look at my vascular system. You can look at my muscles, my muscular system. Then you go deeper, you go to the quantum world, you go to the cellular world, the molecular world, and that's what I call breaking it down. Now you guys are getting zoom out, zoom in concepts, right? Zoom out, bigger picture, the planet, the world, the country, your state, your home, your car, even you. See how you're getting closer. It's like there's a hot air balloon. It's coming back down. It's coming back down. It's coming back down. It's coming back down. Now you get to you. Now you start zooming in. Now you're going into the organs, the tissues, the organelles, the cells, the molecules, the atoms, the protons, the electrons, the space. You see where we just went? Zoom out, zoom in. Okay? Many of us are stuck in the zoom out government lens. Many of us are stuck in the zoom out pharmaceutical lens. Many of us are zoom out stuck in the politics. Many of us are stuck zooming out on the mainstream media. And all they have to do is on our phones, we just hit zoom in. You know the little plus magnifier? Zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in. Keep zooming in, you get to you. You keep zooming in, you get to your organs and your tissues and all these things. You keep zooming in, you get now to your organelles. You keep zooming in, you get to now your cells. Keep zooming in, zoom in, zoom in. You now get to your molecules. You now get to the atoms. You now get to the space. Now you get to quantum. Now you get to nothing. And that's where everything really is. All right, it's like a whole breakdown of zooming out and zooming in. Does it ever stop? Depends what the word stop means to you. That's the answer you could ask yourself. For me, it'll stop as far as I choose to let myself. If I say, okay, this is enough for me, that's where I stop. Because you can go to space, you can then go to galaxies, you go to Milky Way, you can go to Andromeda, you can go to the star system. You keep going and going and going and going and going. And that's why it's so amazing how our mind does see. Because can you guys see, the inside of the Milky Way galaxy with your eyes? No. You can look up and see the stars. So your eyes look. For you to see it though, well, I wouldn't do it right now because I'm driving. Just close your eyes. Then you start seeing it in your mind. Because a lot of us, let's say, look, see my hand, guys? Right here, my hands. Can you guys see my hands? All right, look at my hands. Can you guys see trillions of cells? Can you guys see 5,000 cells lined up that are an inch long? Not many of us can. I can't. You're looking at my hand, you're not looking at my cells. So maybe close my eyes, learn about me, read a book, meditate, ask questions. Next thing you know, you see it here. Like, oh my gosh, I literally see all my cells, and a lot of them have heavy metals in them. But if I do this, you're like, hey guys, look at my heavy metals in my body. Like, Chris, what are you doing? Stop waving at me. That's where people are. They look. So when you tell them they have heavy metals, they like, I can't, there's nothing to look at. I'm looking at I don't see it. They just said it, they don't see it. Because you see it in the mind. That's why the mind's been hijacked, manipulated and distorted, imbalanced and shifted. When the mind's hijacked, we can't even see our own heart. Because literally, you guys aren't even looking at my heart. You're looking at the area it's in. Unless you cut me open, then you can see it. So we get so confused on that premise. Maybe what this live is going to be about is the eyes look, the mind sees, and the heart leads. It's fascinating. Because once you start bridging these things, you start becoming aware of so much, and all of your answers, all of your healing, all the things you pay coaches and gurus and seminars and webinars and all this stuff, you give it out, which is good at times, of course. At the same time, bring it back in. Bring it back in. Zoom out, zoom in. You practice that. It's a great skill to have. You see with the mind, you look with the eyes, you zoom out, bigger picture, right? So I can literally look at what's going on in the world, what's going on in Australia, all I'm saying is these places, and you're seeing it. You're like, oh my gosh. And yet I'm in my car on the freeway in traffic. I'm here. That's being quantum. That's having a Q lens, quantum entanglement. Some people get the letter Q and they go, oh, this. Sure, you could go zoom out to that world. I've been there. Stuff's happening. I zoom out in this world, the now, my reality, zoomed in. That's Q for me as well, because that's quantum entanglement. So we're learning how to do this. And as we declass things, as we wake up to things, as things get pulled back and the illusions fade, it's like our training. We're in training right now. Maybe you guys have never seen it like that in your mind's eye. We're in training camp right now. We've been in it for quite some time. And now we're kind of getting ready to say, all right, time to play. Time to get in the game, which is the now. And the game itself is life. And life itself is now. And that's all that there is, and all that there ever was. Exactly. You guys got it. So there's my little flow for the day. You guys are awesome. Some of you are probably like, oh my gosh. I'm going to learn about my cells. Here's a couple things to wrap it all up to give you guys, and then if you guys want to ask some questions, fire away. You can ask. There's like a little question box too if you want to ask questions. Ask yourself, how in your everyday life can you boost the voltage in your body? How in your life can you practice zooming in and zooming out? So what can you do? Is it images? Is it journaling? Is it painting pictures? Is it meditating? You know these answers. I'm not here to tell you those answers. So what works for me may not work for you, and that's perfect, because then I can learn from you and you can learn from me. So it's great to have diversity and being unique and different. Maybe you're the only one in the world that thinks the way you do. Perfect. I'd love to talk to you. And I'd love to ask you questions, because your right brain has a lot of knowledge that my right brain would love to hear. Instead of, you're wrong, nope, false, that false light, yep. Those are stories, guys. That's the left brain trying to get seen. The left brain loves to hear its self-talk. So if we were all the same, which we are, yet if we were all the same, how do we learn? How do we grow? How do we see reflections of each other? How do we ask questions to get answers? So this may be that divine time that you're watching this or the replay to truly be yourself. to start uncovering and asking yourself what lights you up. What are your values? What are your passions? And once you tap into that, you may get projections, you may get poked at, you may be, scolded at, and that's okay. Because remember, it's just their left brain wanting to hear themselves talk, and you just happen to be in the way. And then you smile and wave. And you say, hey, can I ask you a question? Because a question opens the right brain up to an answer. Because a lot of us have a lot of answers, no one just asks us the questions. And that's going to help tremendously. So how can you practice that zoom in, zoom out method? How can you be present, yet still allow yourself to feel memories of the past, of like loss, grief? How can you become aware of your circadian rhythm within your body? How can you improve, like I said, cellular voltage, eating foods that have high electrical properties, angstroms, electrons, enzymes, antioxidants, phytonutrients, biophotons? I see so many health accounts. No one talks about those things. Fascinates me. I see omega-3s, which are important. I see calories. I get it. I see toxins. I get all that. We're just stepping into a new paradigm, which is the now. The now paradigm, which is the now. So food-wise, getting more foods like that in your body. Obviously, the best options, herbs, raw vegan, raw food, fruits and vegetables, simple stuff. Because you're not going to get many of those things I just mentioned. Cooked products, dead products, and enjoy them. I'm not telling you what to eat or do. I'm just sharing, empowering, and inspiring maybe you to make a change in your life if you choose. Second thing, hydration. Break it down plain and simple, guys. About 99% of the stuff we put on our body is electron stealing. It's taking from us. Free radicals, acidic, inflammatory, aging, oxidizing. Spring waters have some of those properties. Distilled, reverse osmosis, well, they do have those properties, and you can look all that up. Great filters. That's the thing. There's great things to these things. There's just other things that have not been talked about. Grounding. Go ground. Why do we ground? Put your feet on the earth. What do we get? Negative ions, negative charge, free electrons. Mother Earth is just literally laying down naked below our feet saying, hey, Chris, just come and give me a hug. Put your feet on me and I'll give you some electrons. And I'll keep that heart charged up high so you can help manifest and lead your mind to see and the eyes to look to create your reality. So you see how we're bridging it all together now. Ocean, getting in the ocean, charge up. Getting in nature, you're charging up. As soon as you get on Wi-Fi, EMF, charging goes down. Ooh, charging goes down. So we get anxious, get a little jittery. Because our body's saying, hey, I need some battery. And your battery light goes on in your car, your phone goes 10% remaining, hit low power. That's when your body's getting anxious, low battery, low voltage, out of the moment. Getting depressed, low battery, low voltage, out of the moment. Where? That's up to you to discover. The doctor's not going to tell you. They'll try to think they know more about you. Doctors think they know more about us than we know about themselves. Yes, that is true, because a lot of us don't know about ourselves. No, that is false, because it is a left brain trying to figure out someone else's left brain. Putting shungite in water, effective pure, it's a great way to do it. I choose Tesla rocks, Tesla purple plates to purify. Shungite, it blocks things. I look for things that transmute it. Big difference, right? EMFs, water, here's the block. Here's the block right here. There's shungite. Crystals, that's why I don't really do too much of that stuff. That's the block, EMF blockers, right, which are good at times. For me, I like Tesla plates, Tesla rocks. This now becomes a conductor or like a transmuter. So EMF goes through the Tesla plate, boom, comes out positive, or like in a good way. Transmutation. So much of us want to stop and end. Reverse osmosis water, stop, end. Well, how about reverse osmosis, filter, continue, transmute, electron-rich hydrogen water? That sounds cool to me. So shungite's good if you're looking to stop and block. I like Tesla plates, Tesla rocks to not only stop and block, but to transmute, increase, improve, enhance. Because the very thing you're blocking, guys, there's a vibration within it a simple switch, a simple transmutation, a simple solvent, a vehicle, whether it's a thought, intention, or a product, can actually make it back into divinity, can make it back into light, rather than just, oh, block all EMFs. Well, there's light in there that's good for us. It's just hidden. So the Tesla plates get rid of the things that hurt us and express and expand the things that are beneficial to us. That's what we're saying is like, I'm blocking all EMFs. Nothing's going to get to me. Well, you're also blocking all good stuff too at times, because there's divinity in those EMFs. It's just been distorted and all staticky and confusing. So that's my thing on that. Yeah, I'll post this one. Always learning, right? Can you expand on the topic of the magnetic mind, like visualization, manifestation, what the heart desires? Sure. Magnetic mind, we think things just come to us. Think of it this way, flip it. Your mind is a transmitter and a generator. Okay, our right brain specifically. Most people don't know the etymology. It's fascinating stuff. You know, we talk about in the Bible, our Father, thou art in heaven. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Father, if you guys did not know this, in etymology, whether it's Greek or Latin, you can actually break it down, and it's generator and transmitter. So, ready? Here's a visual. I should make like a little story about this. You guys know when we have Wi-Fi signal? What happens when our Wi-Fi goes to 1 bar? Find service. What do? We try to force the service. We try to run around the neighborhood to find that bar, right? Well, maybe we start closing some apps. Maybe we go on airplane mode. The bar improves. Magnetic, it's not that your mind's the magnetic part of it, right? The magnetism is a mere observation of now. So if I say, how can I make $10,000 this month? Okay, that signal, because I asked it. Chris is the left brain. That's the ego, your name, your identity, your occupation, your job. Your left brain is going to ask your right brain the question, and that happens to the corpus callosum. You can look that up too. Left brain asks the right brain a question, just like man asks God a question. You pray, God, how can I do this? And we pray and we look up to the sky. Well, really all we're doing is our left brain's asking our right brain. And then God goes, boom, let me show you. The Father, thou art in heaven, sends out the transmitter, sends out the frequency, sends out the transmission via Wi-Fi signal. That's where Wi-Fi came from. It came from our brains. And next thing you know, something happens where next day I get a check in the mail for $3,000 from a settlement of a court case that I forgot about a year ago. There's $3,000. Where's my other $7,000? Instead of me trying to find out and trying to go crazy, all of a sudden, someone wants to buy my car for $5,000, and I'm trying to sell it for $2,000. I got another $5,000. I'm like, okay, that's wow. And I got another $2,000 left, and next thing you know, a job opportunity comes in, and I got a $2,000 startup bonus. There's $10,000. Now, a lot of us will try to force that rather than source that, and I get that from Jilly, my partner. So, to tie it all together with your question on magnetism. It's not so much that, yes, you are attracting those things. However, you're in congruence with those things because the dimension that manifests based on the questions you ask, your right brain to send out a signal, is now going to put the pieces together for your eyes to look because your mind saw it and your heart led it. And I'll leave it at that. So keep asking questions to yourself. When I say self, your God right brain, because that's what keeps you alive. If you're watching this right now and you can't keep track of how many times you took a breath, your God right brain is doing it. If you're watching this right now and you didn't realize that 10,000 chemical reactions are happening every second because you cannot consciously keep track of it, your God right brain is. If you're doing something and you don't even realize, and your heart is beat hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, even when you're sleeping in a whole nother dimension and different brainwave states, because your God right brain is. And yet, no one knows about it because it's been suppressed, just like the feminine energy has. It's been imbalanced, shifted over to the masculine toxicity rather than divinity, competition, greed, hate, war, all these things. So you start realizing that many of the metaphors, analogies in the Bible are actually talking about the biomapping of the mind, the brain, and the body. You actually start learning about many things in religion have been distorted. That's why religion you rely on, right? You rely on a story, you rely on teachings on the external to tell you about the internal. Yet we don't even think twice that it's internal. Because everything is designed for you to look at it. Look at the person in the sky. Look at the church in front of you, rather than see in your mind and ask your heart those questions. That's to me where God truly is. Because God doesn't get cancer. No such thing. God doesn't mess up. God continues until you choose, whether you choose it consciously or unconsciously, that you want no more part of this. So there's your little response on that. It's fascinating stuff. Look at my right left brain highlights on my stories. You guys can learn a little bit more about that. And a lot of unlearning and relearning we're doing, for sure. So any other question before I jump off here? I'm getting close to maybe a dead zone, so I don't want to lose you guys. Starting a 7-day water only fast. I've never done one of those. I've done a 3-day fast with water. So 7 is new to me. My partner's done, I think, 10 or almost 2 weeks. Baby steps, that's all I can say. Meet yourself where you're at. What happens is a lot of emotions come up, feel them, definitely feel them. And there's probably times where you definitely feel that, I can't do this anymore, I can't quit. Sit back, instead of I can't, babble. Subconscious doesn't know what you're saying, it's not going to do it. Ask, how can I stay present during this fast? Next thing you know, boom, someone will send you like a documentary to watch. Like, well, this is cool. Ask those questions. How can I? Questions are going to help tremendously. And that's really all I can give you, because I teach a lot of things that you guys hear me share from experience, not from just books. Books are third parties and confirmations for me rather than truth about everything. Does that make sense? Life experience. So a lot of you guys on here watching the replay, if you've gone through stuff in your life, those are books. Like what? Let me rephrase it. Things that you've experienced in your life that are mere memories, right, are simple books that are waiting for you to open and retell and reshare with the world. That's why I say your mess is someone's message. Okay, because your mess that might not look like a book could be page 4 for someone's book they're writing. It's always interesting when you look at books, there's only one author. I'm like, that's false. There's a lot of authors of that book. Because that person who probably wrote that book learned from a lot of people. And maybe have a lot of life experience with other people. Exactly. How do you inspire myself? Well, that's a good question. How do I inspire myself? I would say in this moment, because answers can change all the time. And I'm open to having them change all the time. Just like fractals change and veer off that way and then break this way and then break that way. If we're just the same answer every time, that's linear. That's single timeline. That's where we get stuck. How do I inspire myself every day? Well, I would say the fascination of how I operate inspires me to learn more about me, which then leads as a byproduct to being able to share it to help people. And when I share it to help people, they embody it, practice it, and to give me biofeedback that confirms that I'm on the right track. So it's like a cycle. It starts with me. It's like I'm filling my glass up, right? So how do I stay inspired every day? Here's an analogy. I have an empty glass. The water starts rising. From my own experience, from my own setbacks and comebacks, from my own accomplishments and success, Water starts rising, and then I go, here, Bob, have some water if you're open to it. And Bob drinks the water. And Bob goes, oh my gosh, I've never felt better. I'm going to learn about myself. I'm going to learn about water. I'm going to learn about this system. I'm choosing to do this within. Chris, thank you so much for sharing that glass of water with me. And I hear that, and that's starting to fill up my next glass for the next person. That's my inspiration. It's like a water cycle. Because motivation is like, oh, I got to give this to Bob, one time, and then hopefully Bob buys the whole jug for me. It's like motivation and inspiration are different, and both can be used. And we talked about this on one of our community calls. Motivation, very temporary at times, and that's okay, because there's times that just that quick motivation, boom, knock it out. Absolutely. Inspiration, deeper and deeper, and that inspiration really comes down to it, to summarize it, is your core values that are in resonance with your priorities, right? And then how you embody it with full integrity and passion. So what are your core values? What are your priorities in life? Because a lot of us are doing things that are not valued to us and not a priority. That's why we procrastinate. That's why we get stuck. That's why we scroll. That's why we use spiritual bypassing in divine timing. No such thing. Because when you say divine timing, you now just threw yourself back into the left brain linear time. In divine timing, the divine time is right now. Divine timing is another word that can overshadow. Basically, I'm not sure what my core values and priorities are right now. Therefore, I'm going to wait for that divine timing. And we keep waiting until we go, what are my core values? Write them down. What are my 3 priorities? Write them down. Next thing you know, when's that divine timing? Right now. Because you just became aware of it. So there's many words we use with our left brain to bypass, tell a story, or to push time away, and then we throw divine on it. Next thing you know, it's... That's my 2 cents. Distilled is better? Water question? Sure, I'll answer that. This is my lens too. So distilled, I just look at the first word. Still, that's, well, when water stays still, it gets stagnant. When water gets stagnant, like a pond, it can then manifest certain bacterias or algae or mosquitoes and whatnot. So I just first I look at the word, distill. Great filter. Reverse osmosis, distilled water. Distilled and reverse osmosis is interesting. Most people don't know this. It kind of came about when Perrier started coming into the marketplace, carbonated beverages. Reverse osmosis and distillers are mostly made for like labs, testing, sanitizing, water treatment facilities. Wasn't necessarily something for everyday use in a home for health and wellness. Okay, now pause before people start making stories or assumptions. It is important because there's a lot of water in the world that is shit and full of shit. So having the distiller where it takes everything out is very important. Now, what's the con to that? There's very many pros and cons with these things that I've learned over the years is, well, you take out all the stuff, you also take out all the good stuff, right? Just like the Shun guide. You take out all the EMF blocks, you also do not allow any of the good stuff maybe to come in as well. So if you're drinking distilled water, it's void of minerals, so make sure you're remineralizing it. The next thing, which has to do with like the chemical reactions without going too deep into the science, is simply, like you guys heard me earlier, there's a positive voltage in it. So anything that's a positive is taking electrons from your cells. That's not cool. Because you can go ground on Earth, get a bunch of electrons from mama, go back in, drink distilled water, and all of a sudden those electrons start getting taken from you from the water. Because they're a positive charge. So your positive you put in the body has to cancel out with the negative that your body gives up. Right? That also creates an acidic environment, which acidic is low voltage. Don't get it twisted. It's going to be also harder to absorb by the body. Science has shown, against science, right? Research, use that word, whatever you want to use, has shown that over time the body will be depleted of minerals from distilled water. It's inflammatory, aging, oxidizing us. Great filter, because it takes everything out. There's other ways you can do that without nuking everything else within it. And one thing people don't know is ionization is a filter. Because when you have ionization in something, just like the earth is ionized, we have ionized environments, atmospheres, the sun, the earth, the rocks, the minerals, the soil. It's all we're an ionizer. Why? With positive, negative charge. I just explained it on your cells. External part of your cell is a positive, internal is negative. So we're all ionized beings, right? We're all ionized beings. So if you think about it, well, oh, 222 on the license plate. Whoa, look at that, guys. Check this out. Hey, look at this Tesla. I know I shouldn't be texting and driving. Look, 22. That license plate is TO222 right there next to us. How cool is that? Tesla 22222. Oh my goodness. You! Confirmation. I was born May 22nd, 522 at 2022 military time. So I've got 5 twos in my birthday, and that was cool. Tesla, that was cool. So this is my reality. That's why I feel like every hour of my day I could be sharing stuff. It's pretty wild. So that just happened right there. Ionization. Isn't that cool? It's life. Because my eyes are looking at what my mind is seeing. You guys get it now? The reason why that license plate came up is because my eyes are now looking at it because my mind is seeing it. And that's the reason why my mind is seeing it. My heart's leading it. My heart is leading the mind. I'm in a space of gratitude where I can give back to you guys. My heart's open. 222 in Kansas City. It literally is. It was just 1222 here. Woo-wee! Isn't that wild? Oh, you guys got to experience. I'm definitely posting this live. This is money. This is fun. Ionization. So remember, positive, negative, chlorine, fluorides, arsenic, all this shit in our water, that distilled water. It's 21:22 in Belgium. Get out of here. So I was born at 10:22 p.m. So that's 2022. I'll be darned. Life is fun. Ionization. 222. Okay, you guys need to chill out. This is getting wild. Stop it. It's 22:22 in Greece. Sure. So we're in a portal right now. You guys are here for a reason. Something in your life's going to drastically change for the better. Why do I say that? Because when I do these things, when I have calls with people, stuff happens. Can't even explain it. It's an energy transfer. Yeah, the signs are your eyes looking at what your mind is seeing by the heart that's leading it. Now you know the how of divine numbers. One way you can look at it. Many ways. We're all going to the same place. Yeah. Ionization. Present moment. Okay. So with the filters and all that stuff, any contaminants, anything that we would use distillers for, reverse osmosis for, filtrations for, we're getting things out that have a positive charge. You guys get that? Plain and simple, right? Anything that we're looking to get out of water that's bad for us, positive charge. Anything that's good for us, magnesium, calcium, sodium, potassium, like the minerals, well, reverse osmosis distilled takes it out. Those are negative charges. So, therefore, with contamination and all these things, we forget, and we've never been taught, we've never learned, ionization itself is a filter. You have positive thoughts, negative thoughts. Your brain is a filter. You have EMF, and then you have 432, or whatever labels you want to put to it. Those are filtrations. Positive, negative, positive, negative. So I tend to look at a lot of things in life and zoom out, bigger picture, and then zoom in and see the positive and negative of it. So what happens is ionization itself filters, let's say, water, because there's a discharge hose, and anything that's a positive is going to go down the drain. Or you can give it to your plants because your plants transmute it. They're amazing. That's why they transmute carbon dioxide into oxygen to get back to us. We transmute oxygen into carbon dioxide to get back to them. How cool is that? We get excited to give gifts at Christmas. We forget we give gifts every day to plants, and they gift us with oxygen. So that's transmutation instead of all or nothing. So what's going in your glass after ionization, which some people say, oh, why they say that is because Flexner Report of 1910, which outlawed all electromagnetic healing frequencies, rife therapies, and all that stuff. We'll go down that wormhole. Ionization. And decrease. Now we're more in our left brain. Now we're anxious. Now we've got a label. Now we're creating stories. Now we're creating assumptions. Now we're paralysis by analysis. You guys get it? Yeah, I'm in a little dead zone. That's okay. Dropped coincidence. Yeah. How do I remind myself to be in the present moment? Said you say present. Yeah, when I tap my heart. So that brings me back to now. Because your body has certain meridians, like ley lines, like the earth does. Tap it, boom, energy comes back to the meridians. A lot of times our meridians are a little clogged. So tapping on the body is helpful. Breathing is very good. Drinking water brings you back. Breath is one of the best ways. Grounding helps big time. It's just observing when you're thinking, because as soon as you start thinking, you're losing energy. Depending what your thoughts are, you're creating acid in the brain. Remember, acid is now a positive charge, which then reduces oxygenation, which then reduces circulation, which then reduces enzyme functions and all that. We're learning how to connect everything synergistically rather than compartmentally. The thing in the Flexner Report of 1910. Take a look at that. Alex Carnegie and a few others, they would go around college universities, they'd see what they were studying, and they called it all quackery, pseudoscience. Created a little Flexner Report to Andrew Carnegie, who then worked with Big Pharma, Rockefeller, petroleum, oil, and they said, yeah, no, we're going to outlaw that and go ahead into Rockefeller medicine, which is petroleum-based, because that's when they discovered the use of petrochemicals, which 80% or more of our pharmaceuticals are made in China, and you can get the idea of what's going on there, CCP and all that jazz. So ever since, 1910. 1910 was wild. You got 1910, you had 1912 was the Titanic, 1913 was the Federal Reserve Just in 100 years, guys, you're seeing how fast we declined. The best part, if we decline that fast in 100 years, what do you think we can do in our lifetime? That's what we're turning around right now. So, let's see. I don't know if you guys can hear me. You guys there? Does that all make sense, though? We're just connecting these dots together. I think you guys can hear me. I'm not too sure. Oh, here we go. Some comments come in. Chlorophyll. More like chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is you, by the way. Your plant blood and human blood are the 98% identical. What's with the pesticides? Is there any valid reason there are pesticides? Valid reason for pesticides? Soil manipulation, degeneration. You got Monsanto and Bayer that merged. Bayer is a pharmaceutical, so you create the problem, sell the fear, and offer the solution. That's why they have pesticides. Another reason, attack the endocrine system. Another reason, attack the reproductive system of women and children to reduce infertility. So you got population control. Pesticides, herbicides, insecticides are used and designed to destroy, not the bug, destroy the bug's reproductive system so they can't make more little bugs. So instead of bugs being killed, well, now we can't make little bugs, which are little Chris's and little Jillies and little kids. They don't want that. So that's a few other reasons aside from pesticides. Oh, they're carcinogens, they're whatever, endotoxins, whatever left brain labels we put together. Yeah, blue bottle. You guys see my logo? Holla. Cool, right? This will be on the Blue Bottle Love store. Shower filter, Anespa. It's the shower filter I have. So the Anespa, biggest thing with shower filters is chlorine. If you guys didn't know, chlorine is like 10 times more dangerous when inhaled. So if you're taking a hot shower and you don't have any filter, and there's chlorine in your tap, which is mostly everyone's tap water in America at least, you're like just in like a gas chamber. I want to say it kinder. That's the truth. Chlorine, when vaporized and inhaled by the body, is 10 times more deadly than swimming in it and drinking it. And they say drinking is like a 90% chance increase, consistent daily chlorine consumption. So, point in, shower filter, obviously getting contaminants, that was important. Number one, chlorine. Now, a buddy of mine had went to the store because we were really curious about it, and he did testing. He bought 10 shower filters, spent like a couple grand at Home Depot, and we have chlorine drops, which actually, they're in one of these bags. I'm going to be doing chlorine tests for you guys on certain beverages and products and showers and all that stuff, so I'll show you exactly what I mean. Shoot me a message in DMs if you want to learn more about it. He tested about 10 shower heads, and all 10 of them, even though they marketed, hey, removal of chlorine, all 10 had chlorine still in them. Chlorine's tough. If you guys didn't know, chlorine is one of the most, the chemical that is the most structure breaking of water there is. That's why they put it in everything. So structured water is so important for our health. Chlorine breaks the structure. Calcium builds the structure. So when you take calcium out of water, magnesium, and these essential minerals, you're taking components that hold the structure, the grid together in water. So chlorine goes with a sledgehammer and goes, screw this structure, I'm breaking it all. And then we inhale it, and then it goes right into our lungs and our capillaries and our alveoli and all these things go right into our bloodstream, and now our blood gets unconstructed or destructured. And now we're a mess. Now we're anxious, we're lacking oxygen. So you're just seeing again how everything is a ripple effect, no pun intended. Yeah, it messes our endocrine system, which is the chakra system. So to answer your question, I go with an Anespa. It's a filter that has been proven, and I do testing on it for to get rid of all the chlorine. And it also has mineral beads from Japan, from Okinawa, 4 different types of stones that charge the water, give it a negative charge, give it a ionic property to then go ahead and ignite and strengthen your skin and your immune system itself. So they got this technology patented from Japan and Okinawa, which is a blue zone, and they have people that would go into these baths. Look them up. I forget what it's called, mineral hot springs in Okinawa. I'm blanking on the name, but basically people will go in and they get out, ANESP. They go in these little tubs or baths, and they come out, and they from arthritis, autoimmunes, allergies, skin infections. Not here to say claim, cure, diagnose, whatever, but they come out and it's gone. So I shower in that daily. I have I have 4 shower units. I can't shower in anything else now because you feel the stickiness in chlorine. So there you go. There's your answer for that. Get stuff without chlorine. Number one thing for showers, because not only the absorption, also the inhalation. Very, very important. Nespa, super pricey. Finance it for like $900. Do a down payment. For me, I totally hear you. There's no price when it comes to my health, especially when I learn what these systems and these things are doing. If money still is tight, get back and zoom out. How can I call in $5,000 this month? All right. And there's so many ways to create abundance right now. So that's my best solution. I said the same thing too. So I'm right there with you, and just take baby steps then. If you're taking 20-minute showers, take 5-minute showers. It's worth the investment though, but process of elimination and figure out ways to make it happen. So any other questions? This is fun. It's my whole drive home turned into a live. So Futumata Hot Springs. Yes. Thank you guys. There it is. Any other questions you guys got? Take minerals? Yes, I love minerals. I take Aussie Trace minerals. I take some sea moss now and then. I used to take Immortal minerals. Haven't got a new shipment of that. Essential cell salts are important. But yeah, I do supplement with minerals. Just because the water is not as mineral rich, our soil isn't. Everything's been stripped. So taking those extra steps to get those going. And remember, minerals are conductors. We're electromagnetic beings, so they help conduct electricity in the body. That allows our voltage in our cells, intra and extracellular, to enhance and improve, which then enhances our internal and external communication, bioenergetic communication. Do I charge on Tesla plates? Yeah, I actually do. I have my Tesla plate right next to my computer desk, and I put this guy right on it. So if I'm not drinking, it's just sitting right on my plate all day. That's what I do. Essential supplements. I take 𝗕𝗘𝗠𝗘, which is like a turmeric supplement. I cycle it. It's not something I do every day. I just intuitively just kind of feel what it's called, because I've learned. I used to just take supplements because a guy on Instagram told me to, because it's good for me, and I wouldn't know why, how, what it does, when to do it, what's happening. So when I learned those things, now I just know when to take them, or I know when to supplement them, or know when to take a break from them. I've taken sea moss, 𝗕𝗘𝗧𝗧𝗘𝗥, love CBD, CBG, CBN, all cannabis, THC, all that amazing stuff. I've microdosed. What else? Nootropics, which is like lion's mane, adaptogens. I love those. Those are amazing. What else do I supplement with? Chlorophyll, wheatgrass, spirulina. Those are probably my top ones for sure. Yeah, 𝗕𝗘𝗧𝗧𝗘𝗥, amazing. There's a lot of 𝗕𝗘𝗧𝗧𝗘𝗥. Tonic Treasures is a good one I've tried. Fractal Forest is a good one. I'm trying the Symbiotica one. That's a good one. I know there's chalk. Go back to basics. Where is it sourced? Organic. Just do a little research on the company, and that'll get you some ideas. Colloidal. Yep, I've taken colloidal silver before. I don't take those too much due to absorption rate. Ormus. Yes, Ormus is awesome. It's a Tesla plate. Tesla plate's just like a little purple plate. I don't have one. It, through osmosis, takes in ether around us, like free energy. Like it's all around us right now. That's why we're alive. Takes it into the plate and harnesses it and pushes it right through your cells. Pretty cool. Homeopathy is amazing. I've never dove into it myself, so I'm sure there's tons of benefits of it. That's all I got on that. Again, I share with you guys, things that I've experienced myself. So I haven't dove too much into homeopathy. Yeah, I love Purium. It's my whole line I take. Chocolate, I'm sure, is good. ayahuasca and mushrooms, done them both, amazing, without being scapegoats or like band-aids and whatnot. They're just great tools. They're great tools. I've done ayahuasca multiple times, combo, psilocybin, microdosing, macrodosing. Great movie, documentary, Fantastic Fungi, Paul Stamets. Take a look at that. Really teaches you about the power of mushrooms, neuroplasticity, neurogenesis, autophagy even. Just you're just recreating more fractals. If you guys ever pull out a tree from its roots, pull out a tree from the ground, you see all those roots, those are your brain, that's your brain. The roots of a tree is the neuroplasticity, the neurons in your brain. So a lot of times when we get stuck in loops or patterns, it's because our roots got tangled below the surface, right? And the psilocybin or plant medicines can help us do it ourselves, break those loops. And now you can create a new pathway, new neuroplasticity. So set intentions, be present with it. And absolutely. I don't really have a night routine, to be honest. I tend to get off the phone around 7 or 8. Jilly and I, my partner, just kind of chill, quiet down. I've gotten to a point now, one big thing that helped me with my night routine is getting rid of caffeine for the first time in my life for a good stretch of like 6 months. Because the biggest thing, night routine for me is just, as soon as the sun goes down, my melatonin starts dripping. I feel it. I literally feel my melatonin like just dripping through my pineal gland, and I just, by 9:30, I'm lights out. Without any sound, without any meditation or teas, I'm shut down. And another thing too is learn about your human design, because your human design will tell you different ways to wind down and wind up. So I'm a manifesting generator. So as long as I have expended my energy in the day and I lived passionately and I created what I created, by nighttime, I'm ready to lights out. If I'm restless and I can't fall asleep, it's because I was distracted in the day. I was, overstimulated during the day. I was anxious. I wasn't in the present moment, and I didn't get anything accomplished. So by the time I go to bed, my mind's trying to catch up to all that because I'm finally present. So that's another thing too. If you're a projector in human design, you may need to read, take like an hour to lay in your bed to wind down, So again, my right routine is based off me and my energetics, my awareness, my knowledge of self, what I've learned these things do. And once I became aware of it, I can then surrender and let my right brain guide me through it. And that's kind of my answer for that. Now the questions are coming full force. Let's see. Share my experience with those. It's fascinating, life-changing, ego-shattering, death and rebirth within, new paradigms. Scary. Didn't know what to expect at first. Overthought it. The medicine didn't really work on me the first night because I was so in my head of what to expect. I was trying to figure out what was happening. So the second night was better than the third night. I fully surrendered, and I saw animals walking by me, lining up. I saw my grandma in a candle. I'll never forget that. So that was powerful. That's like a 5-hour discussion in itself. Oh my goodness, can't even keep up with these now. Shilajit, I just take the tar and I put it in hot water. So yeah, CBD is great. THC, I enjoy cannabis. I've been smoking, ingesting edibles on and off now for years. Used to abuse it big time to run from anxiety and fear, and ever since the last few years of learning about emotions, I use it intentionally now. Some days I'll use it to enjoy it and maybe go enjoy a meal for whatever, listen to some Bob Marley. I have many different ways of using it. I'm not ashamed by it. Used to shame myself for it until I forgave, let go, and let live. We live in a quantum reality. And if that quantum reality turns into a globe for you, great. If it turns into a flat plane for you, great. That's just my 2 cents. It's a quantum reality. It's made of microbits of fractals that our right brain puts together in real time. And that's really what it comes down to. So that's what I feel. And then if you keep zooming out, who's until we actually get the truth globally, that's just kind of the vision. I don't give too much energy to it, because your answer is different than mine, mine's different than yours, and the way we get somewhere is by asking, hey, what made you get to that conclusion? That's all I'm curious about. Not to say I'm right or wrong. Just fascinated. Just more like a kid. Yeah, cannabis is such a hemp cannabis. There's a reason why it's been illegal for so long. They say it's like a matrix breaker. It just takes you to different states of awareness. That's why when people, ingest cannabis for the first time, or they take too much, they get so anxious, because now all of a sudden it's almost like they become so present, or they're in a place they've never been before, and that's scary. Scary. It's no fun to take too much, right? So over time, you just learn how to merge with it, work with it, use it like the spirit of it, the energetics of it. And I learned so much of this from my partner Jilly in all this, because I used to do it in the bad way of suppressing, numbing, scrolling, running, binge eating, stimulation, like pass me another bowl, keep going. Yeah, it's been a journey. Manifesting generator 3-5. 3-5 emotional authority, left brain, right angle cross of the sleeping phoenix. Cool. That's my human design. 3-5. So that's why I share with you guys. I learned through life experience. That's like the 3. I got my purple plates at Tesla's Secret Labs. I don't know if that site is still up. You can get them really anywhere, whether you do it like on, I don't know if it's on Etsy, if you use Amazon, if you just use a simple search engine. Just make sure it has like this little logo on it. It's kind of like a weird shape. If I had it, I'd show you guys. Make sure it has that on it. Can't go too wrong. It's aluminum alloy. There's anybody can make it really. And then purple is like the divine color in a way. Whole life insurance. It's fascinating to me, anything that's insurance dependent on death. I don't know. Like in church too, they say when you die, life will be amazing in the gates of heaven. Like when you die. And they say that every church service, when you die, when you die, when you die, when you die. Whole life insurance is when you die, when you die, when you die. And then if it's tied to banks, I don't know. I don't even know if I have whole life insurance. I think I might have it. That was set up years ago. I didn't even think twice of it. But that's all I know. That's all I can say. It's just interesting. Yeah, there's tons of human design resources. Victoria, Line by Design. I used to live with her. She's amazing. So she everything I teach about human design is from her. My Human Design, the Jovian Archives, another good one. So tons of amazing stuff. How to invest in XRP. Can buy it on Uphold and BitTrue. Start with learning what you're investing in. Some people invest and they don't even know what they're investing in. Next thing they lose money and then they get upset and they blame crypto. That's all of a sudden it's bad. Just learn. Crypto 101, YouTube. I mean, there's so many resources now. It's crazy, and we're so early. So, where do I start? I start with education. I spent 5 months before I invested $1 in anything. That was last summer around this time. And then I finally started investing in November into XRP after learning about it for 5 months. That's just me. So, if you want to blindly invest in something, my tip is no financial advice. Invest in whatever you can afford to lose. So if you lost all your crypto tomorrow, gone, are you still good? If you are, there you go. If you're not, don't do that. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. So, what led me to XRP? It's funny, I heard about it years ago. I invested in Ripple, like in 2015. And then an XRP in like 2015, and then lost like $3,000. It's like, okay, screw this stuff. I don't even know what Bitcoin or cryptocurrency is. Like, I could have bought Bitcoin for like $10. It's like, nah, I don't even know. I just lost $2,000, so screw this. Of course. Live and learn. 3-5 life. Love it. I would say a video was sent to me about like the future of finance. And this was like where I was still decoding everything of the Q stuff, and because it does have a lot to do with money and banking, because that's pretty much how we became slave to the world, the central bankers, which led to war, poverty, disease, all the things we know, everything, racism, slavery, manipulation, money, all of the money. So when I saw XRP and what it could replace, which is the SWIFT system, I was like, okay, wow, this is wild. And if you know, like, what's the SWIFT system? It's a system we've been using for quite some time. So someone sent me a video. I watched more videos. I met this guy online who became my marketing consultant, crypto consultant, and a brother of mine, and he was teaching me stuff. And after just like a few weeks, I was like, I need to get some of this. This is a no-brainer, because this is the future, like, of everything. And that was it. So that's what led me to that. You're very welcome. Personal care products. I don't use too many things, to be honest. Skin is beauty water from my Kangen machine. I use some beard oils here and there. And toothpaste. I have a CBD hemp oil infused toothpaste. No fluoride, all that jazz. A little charcoal toothpaste I use at times. I floss here and there. No mouthwash. I just use 2.5 Kangen water. I use 11.5 for my skin. 2.5 and 6.0 for my skin. My whole regimen's water. And then in the shower, I use 𝗕𝗘𝗠𝗘, which is a turmeric soap I get from Okinawa, an Spa filter, my shower filter, and some beard shampoos. That's really about it. So it's all water and all stuff from Okinawa, because that's a blue zone, the longest living people in the world. That's why, like, my hair, skin, face. I couldn't grow a beard a few years ago until I started doing these things. It's all water. My whole skincare, what is it? What's the word? Why am I blanking on the word? Toiletries. Toiletries is all water-based, pretty much. Best things for EMF protection? Well, when you break down EMF protection, are you talking about blocking EMFs from hitting you, or how to flush EMFs out of your body, or how to flip them back to a negative charge? Like, what's your question? It's a little vague. How long does detox last? Every day we're detoxing. Every time you exhale, you detox. Every time you go to the bathroom, you do. If you start putting how long does it, you're putting it in the left brain. So it's going to maybe keep going longer than you can even think. Instead of just realizing it's part of life, it's part of our natural cycle and our lifestyle, I'm going to be detoxing for the rest of my life. Because what happens is if I stop sweating, if my bowel movements slow down, if I shallow breathe, if I'm not hydrated and urinating, well, now I'm starting to get blockages. So that's my thing, is just getting it out. And it's a daily thing for life. And as soon as you stop that, you start accumulating. Once you don't eliminate, you accumulate. Then, well, aging, inflammation, acid, and those things. So it's an everyday thing. Acid reflux. I used to have colitis and acid reflux. I just drank the Kangen water. 9.5. I've tried 2.5 a shot of it, hypochlorous acid water, for food poisoning, and that helped. So, but for regular acid reflux, all I did was drink 9.5 Kangen water. And that's endorsed by Hiromi Shinya, who's the guy who discovered the endoscopy and colonoscopy. So he kind of knows what's up. And I learned from that person too, because it's pretty powerful. Yeah, I'll save it. I don't even know how long this thing is going to be. I'm like 5 minutes from my house, so I may have to jump off here before I lose service with you guys. But you guys are very welcome. Take this, share it. I know I always say this, I'm going to do more of these. My man gen then goes all over the place. I've got like 10 projects going on, massive community we're building, potential land, biodynamic farming, cryptocurrency stuff, home-based business, direct sales, entrepreneur, self-development, biohacking, life, love, live, learn. So you guys are awesome. Have an amazing strong end. There's nothing weak about you. There's no weak end in you. There's a strong end that you can capitalize on and make Monday matter. Enjoy the day. Enjoy the present moment. Remember, there's 3 things you can take away from this. The eyes look, the mind sees, the heart leads. You said it, not me. And I agree. Come out better, you guys. We'll see you guys. Have an amazing one. Much love. Holla.